Kentwood presents What's Your IAQ? Understanding Indoor Air Quality. Indoor air quality is a hot topic right now. Many consumers are concerned about potentially harmful levels of formaldehyde in their homes, coming from their floors, furniture, or other sources. So what is formaldehyde? Where does it come from? And how can we, as consumers, make informed choices about the products we buy? This video will present some straightforward answers to those questions. Part 1. What makes quality air? Air quality is not a new issue. As long as mankind has been involved in industrial activity, air pollution has been a problem. As modernization moves in, air quality usually suffers. As awareness of the dangers of dirty air grew, many innovations and regulations came along to help minimize air pollution. California led the way in regulating automobile emissions in the 1960s. As we'll see later, the state continues to set an example for air quality measures. We tend to think of air quality as an outdoor issue, but changing lifestyles mean we often spend more time inside buildings than outside them. So we've become more aware that air quality is an indoor issue too. Accordingly, builders, designers, and consumers are all concerned about indoor air quality. So they choose building materials and furnishings that contribute to good air quality. In this video, we're going to look at how Kentwood floors help in the campaign for cleaner indoor air. So what constitutes good air quality? One common way to measure it is to look at the presence of volatile organic compounds, or VOCs. VOCs are chemical compounds that can exist in the atmosphere. VOCs occur naturally all around us. The smell of fresh cut grass, that new car smell, or the odor at a gas pump. They're all VOCs. We inhale and exhale VOCs with every breath. There are thousands of different VOCs in the environment. Most are harmless, but some have the potential to cause health problems, depending on the level of exposure. One such VOC is formaldehyde. Formaldehyde occurs naturally everywhere in the environment, in plants, trees, and animals, including humans. Our bodies naturally produce and process formaldehyde every day. It's a bit like sunlight. A certain amount is essential for good health, but overexposure can be harmful. So air quality programs tend to set limits on how much formaldehyde is permitted in interior spaces. From our perspective, that means measuring and controlling how much formaldehyde our floors contribute to the air around them. Part 2. Content versus emissions. Content is what goes into a product during manufacturing. Emissions are what comes out of the product while it's in use. So how does formaldehyde content get into a hardwood floor? To start with, all wood naturally contains formaldehyde. So it stands to reason that all hardwood floors will have some formaldehyde content. It's impossible to have a formaldehyde-free hardwood floor. If it's an engineered floor, formaldehyde may also be present in the glues that are used in manufacturing the finished product. So most engineered floors will have some added formaldehyde content in addition to what naturally occurs in the wood. And some of that formaldehyde can be released into the atmosphere as a VOC. That is called emissions. And when it comes to IAQ, measuring emissions is what it's all about. Part 3. Understanding CARB. In 2007, California's Air Resource Board, CARB, approved the following measure to reduce formaldehyde emissions from composite wood products. Please note, not reduce content, reduce emissions. That's very important. It's also important to note that CARB doesn't regulate finished products, such as hardwood flooring. It only regulates the composite wood product, which may be used in the core material in some kinds of hardwood flooring. Essentially, CARB sets limits on how much formaldehyde a product can emit. CARB has two main components, the actual emissions requirement and the documentation requirement. Anyone using composite wood products is required that they meet the CARB emissions standard and have a complete paper trail to prove it. Here's how it works in practice. Say a mill is making engineered hardwood flooring with a plywood core. Like many mills, they purchase their plywood ready-made from another factory. The plywood manufacturer has proven their product can meet CARB standards, and they have the paperwork to prove it. Their plywood may be stamped and sold as CARB certified. Back at the mill, the flooring is made using CARB certified plywood as the core material. The finished flooring may be labeled as CARB compliant, meaning it contains a composite wood component, and that component meets CARB standards. Kentwood works with a lot of different manufacturers, and we've developed our own very strict quality control program to ensure that our partners are doing their part when it comes to CARB. It includes on-site reviews and inspections, checking records and shipments, on-site quality control teams, random testing, and more. Our quality control program ensures that what it says on the label is what's in the box. But our commitment to good indoor air quality goes well beyond CARB. We test products that aren't even covered by CARB. Our quality control program ensures that our entire product line meets the same high standards. Part 4. Section 1350, the new standard. While CARB is a good program, its focus is pretty narrow. First, it applies to some flooring products and not others. Take these 3 engineered hardwood floors. The first has a plywood core. The second has a core of MDF. And the third has a core of wood strips. The first and second would require the use of CARB certified material, but the third cannot because it contains no composite wood product. Second, CARB only measures one VOC, formaldehyde, and only what is emitting from the core material. These engineered floors also have a hardwood veneer layer, maybe a stain, possibly a base layer, polyurethane finish, and adhesive to hold it all together. So a CARB rating doesn't reflect the air quality profile of the complete finished product. Now, in California, CARB is the law. But the state also has another voluntary public air quality specification that goes beyond CARB. Its full name is a mouthful, so it's usually called 1350. It's different from CARB in several ways. 1350 looks for thousands of different VOCs, not just formaldehyde. 1350 tests the finished product, not just one component. 1350 can be applied to wood, laminate, and LV products, even finishes and glues. CARB covers composite wood material only. And it's also much stricter in the case of formaldehyde. 1350 allows less than half the emissions permitted by CARB. From a consumer standpoint, 1350 gives a more practical and comprehensive assessment of the materials being used in one's home. 1350 is also the new benchmark for IAQ in many green building programs, like LEED. So how do Kentwood floors rate? All products that contain a composite wood core are CARB compliant. They are made with CARB certified material. Further, Kentwood is working towards having 100% of our engineered floors 1350 compliant. Currently, over 90% of our production meets the 1350 standard. And the other 10%? Those are simply the newest additions to our line. Because 1350 is such an exhaustive protocol, it takes months for new products to be brought into the program. As we are constantly adding new styles, there will always be some products in process. Our objective is to produce all styles and types of Kentwood engineered hardwood flooring as 1350 compliant. The bottom line is, you can be sure that when you purchase Kentwood hardwood flooring, your IAQ is A-OK. Thanks for watching. For more information, visit kentwoodfloors.com.